Right, in today's video we're going to be heading out on our deep water mark where we had our pots. Now when I say deep water mark, it's normally where the deepest part where I will pot, which is usually around 100 odd feet of water. I don't tend to go much further because once you go further, because of the tides and that, you need an awful lot more rope to be able to keep your lines up. On top of that, if you can imagine pulling a 45-pound pot up from the seabed attached to another pot down another line, and you've got all the weight of the rope, the deeper you get, you're pulling that weight of rope, and that's quite a lot of weight of rope with all the lead on it as well. So obviously it gets more complicated the deeper we go. So that's kind of my limit. Although if we do this prawn pot that I've talked about, that we might go up to 200 feet because I'll use a thinner line and I'll work it out. We'll figure it out as we go. Now, as I've said in the previous video, we're going to be going through the footage. I've got lots of footage because I used to film days and I used to skip 2 or 3 days, then take the footage from 2 or 3 days later, because that way it kept the videos up to date with you kind of thing. So, you know, you weren't watching a video which was 2 weeks old or something like that, because I couldn't put every bit of footage up each day, so I had to jump footage. So we've got all this footage and I'm going through it. Unfortunately, when you're filming from a very small boat, it is very difficult. I would class it as one of the most difficult ways of filming fishing, because if you're filming off the shore, you've obviously got the advantage of the camera being right next to you all the time, and you can put it on tripods and keep everything still. In a boat, especially a small boat, the boat moves a lot. You know, in a big boat it's slower quite often and the camera is a lot smoother. In a small boat it jostles a lot the boat, so your camera, slightest bit of wind is going to jostle the boat. On top of that, in an open boat, you've got the elements. You've got the rain, that quite often destroys footage. You've got the wind, that destroys footage, and just spray coming over with the salt which goes on the lens, that kind of thing. Again, it's a lot easier if you've got a couple of people filming, because if you've got a guy behind the camera, he can see when the camera's clear, he can get you in perfect shot. When I do it, you pretty much put your camera on a stick like that, stick it on the front and point it in the general direction that you're filming and hope for the best. But also the problem with that is, like, not having a cameraman, you kind of film everything. You know, if I go from one pot to another pot, I just film the whole lot, but then I end up with so much footage, like 6 hours of footage, and I might use 15 minutes out of that 6 hours, maybe 20 minutes. If I'm lucky, some days I literally dump the whole footage, because like I said, if it rains and stuff, I mean, again, if you've got a boat that's got a cabin on it, that makes your life a lot easier as well, for the simple fact you can have the camera in the cabin a bit, and then you don't get the problem with the rain, you don't get the problem with the wind. So, like I say, fishing from a small boat is really, really tricky, especially where I live, because you're always going to have wind out there. That's one of the things with this island. 95% of the time, or 99% of the time, it's windy. You see the difference when we have those lovely flat days. You see the footage difference because the camera is nice and still. It's not bouncing around with these little wavelets and that, so much better. But anyway, like I say, I've got all that footage, so there's hours and hours of footage which I've got to then go through. And if you think, if I film, say, 6 hours on this camera and I've got another camera doing different angle, then that's 12 hours of footage I've got to go through for the same amount of 15-20 minutes to pull into some kind of video. And also a lot of footage is, like I said, it is destroyed by the wind or the rain. And I mean, I've dumped a ton of footage, even like with really decent fish. I've had some fantastic catches or lovely big fish, and I've literally thrown the footage away because the footage was so bad. Like I say, sometimes it could just be where the waves, where a droplet has hit the camera and then it's dried and you get like salt on it and it just fogs everything out, and it's just too bad to put on video. I mean, you see some of the videos when we're going through the rough weather, what you're going through and that's the days you could kind of film it in a way. I'll have to show you some clips of the stuff that gets thrown out. That might be interesting. Wait for it to drop a bit before I go out there. It's not exactly rough here. There's a bit of swell. There wasn't any wind. It's picked up a little bit now. But it's safer to let it go down a bit and the fish will come. Slightly deeper one. There we go. Lovely bass again. So anyway, working on that. So that's what's going to be coming up. Today's trip is near the end of the season. Well, not long before we pulled the boat, and it was quite a nice day actually. We had some nice catch this day. And then I might go back to the earlier stuff, sort of when the season began, and we'll work through that. And I'll probably do one of those videos a week, and then we'll do another video. So I like to try and do 2 videos. The second video is obviously going to be, we've got, like I've said before, we're doing stuff on the boat. We've got the crab pots, maybe a prawn pot. People have asked for certain videos on setting up certain things. So we'll do try and do 2 videos. I am having more dentistry work done. I've had a lot of problems in the past with my teeth. When I was a kid, I literally had all my chewing teeth taken out and all the wisdoms were pulled forward because I had too many teeth in my mouth. Trouble is now I'm getting the after effects of that years later, and getting a lot of problems with that. So I'm having a lot of dentistry. Plus, you probably have noticed I got one missing on the side at the front, and that was caused by, I'll show you that. If you know, when I go down Ormering or for the abalone, I take a hook, a blunt hook which we put in the hole to hook the ormers out. Well, I was pulling her up one day like this, and I pulled it and I went like that and the back of that hit me in the face or in the tooth and smashed the tooth out. So yeah, not a very smart move. Taught me to keep my mouth shut while I'm ormering though, or turn my head away when I'm pulling a rock. But apart from that, it's something that's always sort of bugged me. I did have a plate with a tooth, replacement thing, but I'm going to get it kind of done properly because I hate that plate thing, and that's why I never even wear it. So yeah, I'm going to get that sorted out, but that'll probably come after. And if you know, when you're making videos and you know anything about teeth, if you've obviously been to dentists, had teeth taken out, had them filled, had all sorts messed around with your gums and that, it's not really great for making videos, or you don't really want to talk, or you just don't want to do anything when you hurt that much. On top of that, trying to talk when your face is messed up. Yeah. So anyway, I will work around that. We will work through all that. But like I say, anything bigger dentistry I'm looking at is probably going to be January, because I want to get it all sorted now, because I don't have any of these problems or things going on when we get through to the fishing season again. I'd rather get all that cleared up now while it's cold, wet and miserable, and I can be even more miserable. Anyway, let's go fishing. Looks like an undersized lobster, that's it. Like I say, not good at it. Look at that one. A whole week out in the deeps and all it's caught is that. One tiny brown crab. And this, I think, is under. Yep. Oh well. There you go. Keep it up a bit. crab and a lobster. Yes, finally. Lobster, that'll be oversized. Let's check out these crabs. Don't let go. There's one beauty. Probably £4 or so, I suppose that one. Nice big male. Right. Small bucket for now. A few bits. This one's going to be tricky because he's around the trap. There we go. And this one's a little bit bigger. But nice crab. Very nice crab. About time we had some crab. A bit diabolical this year for crab. Right, get the bases and back down. That's stuck against something. Looks down to like a lobster. There it is. The lobster. So I felt it pull away from something. Small crabs, small lobsters. I think that'll be under, but I'm going to check it anyway, to be sure. This one in here is definitely crab. That'll be under, that one. And this one is definitely over. Way over. That's a nice one there. Nice male, big claw. That there, the rock you've got to watch when you trail up and down the light. You can see just by the shape of it. That'll be a whole split of that one. my strap around that to try and lift it out. Apologies, flat battery. So, caught it, decent one, not a giant, but it's legal and I'm going to keep it because you can see it bleeding. Probably about 48 or something like that. 46, so it's a bit smaller than that. Small fish again. Say that actually, it's not that small. That's a better fish. There I was thinking it was a small one. Now he's wrapped up. There we go. Not a bad one. Well, that was in a bit of an abrupt end. Anyway, don't forget, 28th of November, tomorrow, to the 2nd of December, you can get quite a big discount on torches from Olight. Details are in the description along with a link. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.